there was a lot of different ways you could do it. I mean, you could just leave the denture in. You could put the implants in. You could leave the denture. After 3 months of wearing it, they would come back in. And this, in the tale of me having seen most of this, I've done pretty much all these different ways. This was the way that probably in the first 50 cases, maybe I did 15 of them this way, right?
Which is burying the implant.
Yeah, put the implants in, put a little cap on the implant and put it underneath the gums and let the gums tissue heal over. Patient would wear the denture for 3 months, and then we would come back in and uncover them, uncover them and do a little procedure there where we're playing hide and go seek with the implant. Right. That was always a lot of fun. And then we would put the abutment on, right? And the abutment is basically what is your attachment, right? It's the implant is your support, it's your structural beam, and then the abutment is essentially the screw that your picture frame is going to hang off of. And so it's sort of that translation, right? You've got the stud, the picture frame screw, and then the picture frame.
Right. And
so the abutment's sort of our screw. By the way, since this is only 2 episodes in, I speak in a lot of metaphors. Sometimes that helps people, and sometimes it doesn't.
No, that was a good metaphor.
But we would do that, and then we would take some records, we'd take some impressions, and those impressions would be with very specific pieces that would tell the lab how to pour it up in stone and then start converting it into whatever you wanted to, right. Or however you were going to build those final teeth. Usually it was a denture, just a crappy acrylic denture, and that was sort of molded over top of a custom-made titanium bar. And when I say custom-made titanium bar, I am sure what you are thinking of is a milling machine and the grinding sound and all of that. But no, we're literally talking about casting it in a furnace, melting metal down and replacement, all of that stuff. Your typical real casting a form. And
that's
wild times, right?
You take for granted milling machines nowadays.
Yeah, we stand on the shoulders of giants for sure. So that was sort of the end-to-end procedure, right? And the difficulty with that is working away from the denture patient. Now we're kind of into more what we would think of as a traditional hybrid patient, which is kind of anybody that has failing teeth or has some significant issues of some sort or has already lost a bunch of teeth, or maybe they don't have teeth, right? They can still be denture wearers. That patient would go through this sort of long, torturous process, right? And that was a very frustrating time, and that's sort of why we've kind of worked away from that as an industry. Is it's not that it doesn't work, right? Like we talked about last week. Everything we talk about, whether we kind of diss it or not, it works. It's mostly going to be to the standard of care. Find somebody that cares about you and put some effort into their work, but it's not about who's better or best or that kind of thing. It's going to work, right?
Sure.
The other side, dang, I just forgot where I was saying.
I don't know, but to sum that little part up right there, I think you're saying, like, the journey can be different for everyone.
Exactly.
The
right.
end result you're going to get to, regardless of timelines or materials or whatever, you're probably going to end up in, as long as you trust the professionals that you're working with and they're going to get you to that end. How you get there is just a matter of clinician preference. Different doctors have different ways that they feel more comfortable doing things, and what fits in your budget and your timeline as a patient.
Yeah. The frustration side is something that sort of what paved the way for all of these better things to come along, right? That's why our protocol is the way that it is. The reason why our patients go through this smooth process is because they're standing on, the shoulders of giants, right?
For sure.
They are standing on the frustrations of old patients, some of who even just being in the few years, 5-6 years you've been with me, you even caught the tail end of that where things were still frustrating, and they were the smoothest they had ever been, right?
Yeah.
And so that was always very frustrating to me, an aspect of sort of this historic episode of where we're going through kind of like the rough timeline, is that when you would see this patient right after, and you know, obviously we only talked about sort of the all-on-form bearing it, that transitioned as our implants kind of got better and people got a little bit more needy, and we already had the denture. We would cut it apart, glue it together so they could wear that, right? The immediate load. We'd put the, immediately they could kind of chew some sort of food.
Something, yeah.
That whole process could be like endlessly infuriating. And the only time that you got any sort of positive feedback was right away, was day one, was the reveal, right? The pictures and the videos that everyone's seen on Instagram of this guy's a firefighter and he's never seen himself with teeth in 5 years or whatever. And then he's crying and all of that. What they never saw was sort of the other side, the 3 months of just annoyance and this sort of battle and these walls getting put up between dentist and patient. And that was absolutely the fire behind us tailoring in our protocol and making it a lot more straightforward and better. And I'm sure a lot of other people as well, is eliminating those frustrations.